chance of continuing. Because if TSM wins twice with exactly the same thing, I mean, just do Corki. The Corki was great last time, TSM.
There you go. Okay, Salty Run back. 20 out of 20 picks and bans.
Oh my god.
In the exact same order. The hovers were different.
Yeah.
That's it.
So, there's been a couple times I remember 100% what this is. And what Salty Run back means is you lose and you're saying, okay, it had nothing to do with any external like pick and ban factors. We just lost because we played bad, but we are sure that our draft was better. That's what 100 Thieves is saying here.
Yeah.
And TSM, since they won, doesn't need to change anything. So what usually happens after one team wins a game in a best-of series is they don't change what isn't broken. So it makes 100% sense for TSM to go back exactly what they just did. It normally doesn't make sense for the losing team to do exactly the same, but 100 Thieves is completely doubling down on game one. And we are actually into game two, even if it looks like that was just a replay of game one champ select.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are onto the Rift. I promise you, this is a new game of League of Legends. Looking at the summoner spells and runes, everything appears to also be the same. So it's all par for the course. We've been here before.
Wouldn't that be something? They're like, oh yeah, the issue was we had Phase Rush Orianna when we should have brought Airy Orianna, so that
yeah. What if it's not even that? What if it's something even more minor, like, oh yeah, not Kobbe, because he was on the winning team. Cody had 2 Adaptive Force instead of Adaptive Force plus attack speed. That's the change. Minor rune stat change.
Okay. Well, knowing that we are in this environment again, let's just talk about how game one played out and maybe where 100 Thieves is coming from in wanting to run this back. In game one, their duo lane lost a little bit. Meteos did red, immediately ganked mid, so that's already a change. He doesn't care about burning Bjergsen's flash because maybe he just assumes that they're not going to play around mid lane whatsoever. Instead, 100 Thieves doesn't want those top lane skirmishes to go bad.
Right.
So expect more caution from Ssumday early. Maybe expect even more scaling from 100 Thieves because there were moments in that last game where some of the team fights felt close despite 100 Thieves being down 6,000 or 7,000 gold. So if I had to guess, 100 Thieves is thinking, okay, we can try a few early ganks on Broken Blade to get Ssumday going early, knowing that Dardoch likely isn't up here right now. But for the most part, I'm expecting 100 Thieves to play more passively this game.
Meteos on the enemy Krugs. Broken Blade walking up to the brush to face check this one, but Meteos gets the better of him here in the trade early on. Broken Blade is going to be fighting this one. The Q3 hits. Broken Blade looks for more auto attacks. Okay. Will not flash to follow Meteos, but that's a summoner spell blown there by the jungler of 100 Thieves.
Yeah, a little touch and go for Meteos there. I think largely he was okay chunking out Broken Blade because that's going to burn his teleport early. But this does really set up Dardoch to take advantage in the jungle. Meteos has only done 2 camps, whereas Dardoch is currently working on his 4th. So the Gragas will likely hit 6 much faster, and that means he will win most of these 2v2s. And knowing that Meteos' flash is down, this is the same path Dardoch did in game 1. He didn't gank mid because they didn't know where Meteos was. Now they know Meteos is flashless, so they can take some advantage.
There comes the damage from TSM. Ryoma still getting chased down here by Dardoch. Dardoch's in some trouble, though. Ssumday with a collapse. Dardoch doesn't have to flash away. Tries to use the body slam there to disengage. Dardoch likely going to be taken down. First blood for Ssumday, who manages to get himself double buffs as well. Bjergsen has some mana left in the tank, but not a ton. Broken Blade moving forward here. Like to get a return kill. Remember, Ssumday already had to flash to get the kill into Dardoch, and Broken Blade will take the kill. He will take the buffs, and he'll take his way back up to top.
Whenever that happens in my solo queue games, I say buff transfer complete.
The classic.
Because really, what just happened is you died, but your buffs ended up going to your own top laner. So now you can say Broken Blade is beneficial. Watching this one more time, not a bad play by Dardoch to gank, but you did see the teleport advantage come into play. As they commit, Ssumday knows he has TP advantage. He actually doesn't do it on a recall. He does it straight from lane, so he's not 100% full on health and mana, but you know he's able to close this down. He really wanted to be able to auto this, but he flashes for it. So there's a chance he might have been able to get in range, but didn't want to take any extra damage from Bjergsen. But now, since he did flash, it makes it much easier for Broken Blade to chase him down safely and pick up the double buffs for himself.
Broken Blade off to an early kill here yet again, and TSM's making a collapse. This time, instead of the top lane, it is the mid lane. Bjergsen maintains the turbid aggro as long as possible to make sure the dive doesn't go awry, and it is a TSM lead early on here in game 2.
And that was beautifully done, knowing that there's a level 3 flashless Gragas who can provide CC, but you don't want to take turret aggro. Really smart by Bjergsen to get the turret aggro at max range so he could easily drop it. And they very cleanly execute a 3-man mid lane dive. You don't often see that many mid lane dives at 5 minutes into the game, but the situation was right and they walk away with the kill.
They get the kills. Dardoch will farm back up here on his top side. Ssumday stepping forward to just maybe be a nuisance. He does have the wave shoved up all the way underneath Dardoch's turret. In the meantime, the bottom lane has gone about the same as it did in the previous game. It is a push advantage and a slight farm advantage for Kobbe and Biofrost against their counterparts of Cody and Stunt. And nobody's really paying attention to them early on. They're going to come into play later.
So, I was just, pondering the fact that these are the exact same team comps and the start of the game isn't necessarily good for 100 Thieves.
Right.
And I started thinking, like, it's definitely happened more than a few times, but the last one that I remember crystal clear was actually MSI finals between CLG and SKT back in 2016 with Coach Zix, who is the coach of 100 Thieves right now. So it is something that I think he is somewhat prone to do in these situations. Because normally speaking, like, I generally hate doing exactly the same picks and bans, but it does take a huge amount of confidence to think that, hey, there is nothing that can be improved upon based on what we learned from that game in the draft, and it is really 100% down to just the play, like the message that potentially sends. Because we're in this game right now where, sure, Ssumday did pick up a kill, he's got an earlier Bramble Best, Broken Blade didn't start 2-0, but we're still in that situation where Bjergsen's Corki is looking comfortable to scale up, Ryoma's Orianna looks vulnerable, and bot pressure turned into a Drake. So it's still looking like right now TSM has an advantage. We're going to have to see how it plays out, but I just had to bring up that memory of the last identical pick ban after game 1 loss that I remember was the same coach that we're seeing here in this game.
When it's the same coach, I mean, the mind is still working, right? The gears are turning. He's thinking that he's got the strategy down, and it just needs to be executed properly. One thing I do want to point out, a difference between the first 2 games here, there was no Cloud Drake taken in game number 1. It was Infernal and Ocean were the first 2 into a Mountain Soul. Cloud Drake is the first Drake here this time around. TSM will pick that one up, so that's reduced ultimate cooldowns. I did not see which Drake is going to be spawning next, but...
Yeah, Mountain is next.
Okay, so no Mountain
That means
Soul.
we're going to get either an Ocean or an Infernal Soul.
Okay, so we'll only get the 1 Mountain, which will just be a small buff. It won't really matter that much. Soul will be very different. The thing is, though, that could be, better or worse, depending on who's in control of it, because the Ocean Soul is widely regarded as the strongest one. Infernal Soul also very potent on teams that have a lot of poke capability, like what Bjergsen and Kobbe are able to do with the rockets and the piercing arrows. So that'll be something interesting to keep our eyes on as well as this moves forward.
Yeah, and with Rift Herald going down, it does bring up a fairly pivotal moment in the game for 100 Thieves. So they gave up the Drake. You could see Cody's son burned his ultimate just so they wouldn't lose too much wave pressure bottom as they're getting just perpetually pushed in. If Meteos can get off a successful gank and drop a Rift Herald that can actually kill a turret, I think that's the early game gold injection that 100 Thieves is going to be looking for. If he instead just goes into a lane, drops it, and gets the single 2-plate charge, I don't think that's going to be enough. So I think 100 Thieves is really going to try hard to set up a gank in order to get the Herald down.
Well, it is an improvement over game 1 for 100 Thieves to even have the Herald to begin with. Remember in game number 1, it was Dardoch who had the Herald summon it up here in the top side. Ssumday uses his ulti to try to stop the wave there in the top side, but it's going to be Dardoch moving towards him here with Bjergsen's help. The cast comes down and the kill is secured. Ssumday down for the second time in this game as the TSM Goon Squad again collapses 3v1 in the top lane.
Game plan remains largely the same for TSM. They're attacking Ssumday. 100 Thieves, though, knowing that a bunch was just burned, package, flash, ult from the Gragas means they're pushing bottom. Since Ryoma is missing, this is as good as a successful gank because all 100 Thieves needs is free time to take 2.5 of these plates down to then have the charge. But the minions are running out. They drop it a little early, and this actually doesn't look like it'll take the turret. 3 plates in total is what they get.
I mean, it's not bad, but you said couple plates in a turret, very different thing.
And I think 100 Thieves, in terms of things that have gone better since game 1, the kills have gone to Dardoch's Gragas instead of Bjergsen's Corki. And Gragas doesn't scale nearly as well as Corki into the late game, so I think 100 Thieves will be grateful for that.
Meteos hanging around this mid lane, not going to find an opportunity to make a move onto Bjergsen there, who can honestly just continue farming up from range. Ryoma does have a CS lead over Bjergsen's Corki, so that is something 100 Thieves have going for him. You talked about 100 Thieves wanting to play this slow, wanting to scale up and get to the point where they can not be 7,000 gold behind when those Ornn items come online and that big team fight power is there. Well, things are going okay here right now. They're not even 1,000 gold down. They've got even farm in the bottom and top lanes, slight farm lead there in the mid lane. Things seem to be progressing at an okay pace for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, things are stable, and that is mostly what we expected 100 Thieves to try and do coming into this game, and they're hoping to get to 25 or 30-minute team fights without large gold deficits. The risk here is this upcoming Drake. Whoever gets the right initiation could actually take a large reward afterwards, and I wonder if 100 Thieves is going to be looking to pound.
Talking about the initiation, there you go. Biofrost face checking the tri-brush. Damage coming out onto both sides. Stasis from Dardoch going to keep him alive. Thick Skin goes out. Meteos down to 1 HP. Barely going to get himself away. Ssumday now tanking up there on the front line. Stunt is cut down. Broken Blade still looking to find even more. Cody Sun's got no mana, but Ryoma has come in and has a massive flank there with a shockwave to kill too. Broken Blade underneath the turret trying to find the kill onto Cody. He'll likely be killed here, but will he get Cody on the way out?
Get him!
He will not. Ryoma, a killing spree, and 3 kills under his belt. Kobbe steps back up into the lane to finish Cody off, and it is an absolute bloodbath.
100 Thieves actually decides to go for that initiation, but the end result is largely positive with Ryoma picking up 3 kills throughout the duration of that fight. So many really close calls at the start of that when Meteos flashing out with sub 100 health, and Broken Blade, who if he would have flashed earlier actually would have just killed Cody Sun, but because he saved his flash hoping to kill him without, bought enough time for Ryoma to move down and eventually pick up the kill. Now with everyone respawning, since there were 3 down on both sides, they might just keep fighting.
And let's not forget that Meteos walked away from that fight with what I'm pretty sure was single-digit HP. I'm really surprised he didn't die there and give an extra kill over to TSM. Bjergsen does need to collect this blue buff here to make sure that he's got mana if there is going to be a fight breaking out, but TSM seems to not be moving to this, at least immediately. Stunt, Cody, and Meteos all on the Drake. Ryoma here as well. TSM decide just to surrender this one. Last game did start off with 1 Drake for each side. This one will be the same. And here he comes. Jatt, the therapy dragon, takes to the rift. Everything turns all rainy and peaceful, and there's flowers everywhere. Lo-fi hip-hop beats to gank lanes and relax to. It is time for people to have a good time on Summoner's Rift. But of course, you're only going to be having a good time if you get to Soul, because if you're up against Ocean Soul, it makes team fights so hard.
Yep, do your best not to tilt, Soul. This could also be first turret coming down for 100 Thieves. The last plate is going to fall in about 10 seconds. If they get it down beforehand, they'll get even more extra gold. You can see 237 per individual, so a big injection of gold. And Captain Flowers, the salty run back,
it's working,
is way less salty right now. This is the intelligent run back. This is the logical run back so far by 100 Thieves. Like, thinking about how close some of those fights were in game 1, sure, they've attacked Ssumday. Ssumday's kept his CS up, and the big difference is that Ryoma's picked up those 3 kills and can move towards a powerful point, and we don't see Bjergsen sitting on a 4-kill Corki at this exact moment. So, 100 Thieves with 1 Drake in tow, basically even gold, and a fed mid laner, might actually be feeling pretty good right about now.
All right, 100 Thieves. This is your chance to show that Zix was right. The draft works. The team can make this sing. They're in a really good spot here. Dead even gold. 15 minutes into the game. Broken Blade coming in from the flank. Stunt is the target here for them, but Broken Blade is going to be collapsed on by multiple members here of 100 Thieves. Bjergsen going to grab the kill on a Cody Sun, but it's already one down on TSM as well. Stunt's there in the middle. Ryoma is able to grab a double. The kid in the mid lane for 100 Thieves is dropping bodies all over the rift here in game 2. Meteos over the wall looking to grab some damage onto Dardoch, who does keep himself alive, as Bjergsen and Kobbe managed to pick themselves up another kill. That is going to be a 2 for 2 at the end of the day here in the top side, and TSM walks back to mid.
Whew, we got a mid lane battle here. The initiation there was really awkward. I think Broken Blade was looking for a flank, but ended up getting collapsed on early, and he just, quite honestly, got bursted down before he could have any real influence on that fight, and Ryoma was sure to make that happen with the Shockwave. You can see he's also kind of shortcutting towards Deathcap because the Ornn upgrade is going to come through later. But yeah, watch the start of this fight. Look way up above Meteos. Broken Blade ults in, but it's an immediate turn for the rest of the team. So Cody gets caught on one side, Broken Blade gets caught on the other, but since Biofrost was trying to move in for a save, he ends up getting chunked out too, which leads to the double kill. And then right here, I think the rest of the 100 Thieves wasn't on the same page as Stunt, probably didn't have cooldowns to follow up with that Nautilus hook, so he ends up feeding a kill back over to make it 2 kills for both mid laners.
Mid laners popping off makes for a fun game of League of Legends to watch. Ryoma has hit some good shockwaves here in the past couple of fights. 5-1-1 on this Orianna, working towards that Rabadon's death cap. I'm sure Ssumday is going to want to upgrade that as soon as he hits level 14 and can do so. Bjergsen, though, 2-0-3 here on the Corki. We know that this guy has carried TSM to multiple championships in the past. He's always the guy the team has relied on. We'll see if he can put down the damage here in this game 2 against 100 Thieves. Second Rift Herald summoned up in the top side. Shelly rams her face into that tier 1 turret. It's taken down, and now they're going to see if they can get the second charge off here onto the tier 2. Shelly will step up, look to take that one. Her eyeball doesn't show up in time, and she will get the charge.
400 gold lead for 100 Thieves. Not a super successful Shelly. It was more about the fight that we saw. I'm actually pretty surprised they didn't just save that for a little bit longer, use it mid lane, and try and get better control over this next Ocean Drake. The more important thing, I think, to focus on now is just item completions. Ryoma is huge.
Yeah.
Deathcap Ludens already completed well before Ssumday can even upgrade with ornaments, since he needs level 14 before he can start upgrading his own teammates' items. Stunt is level 7. It doesn't have Stoneplate yet, so it's like we got one Mega Fed dude. We got one really, really weak support, who's also, by the way, a guy who needs to help with the initiation. So really pivotal who ends up getting picked off. And I mean, actually, TSM's giving this up. They're saying Ryoma's too big of a power spike. We'll take the gold onto Bjergsen. They did this in game 1 as well. When TSM actually had, I think it was 1 or 2 Drakes.
It was 1.
And it was the first Drake over to 100 Thieves.
Yes.
But this time, I think it's a little bit more questionable, but I think it does speak to that TSM might not think they can win teamfights right now, and they want to get 2 items on Bjergsen as well before they opt in for these fights. Because yeah, at this point, 1 Ryoma Shockwave would have just slingshot 100 Thieves ahead. Here, they're just trading an Ocean Drake for some more gold onto Bjergsen.
And I like that trade, because unless you're going for a we need to rush 4 Drakes for the soul at 24 minutes win condition, the first 2 don't matter, really. The individual Drake buffs are pretty small. They're not going to put any sort of immediate pressure on you. If you're TSM, you're okay with giving that up. Now, after those two are gone, 3 and 4, they're a lot more important. So I don't expect to see TSM give these away for free like that moving forward. However, I don't expect TSM to probably be in the same situation like what you're describing right now, where Ryoma is the guy on the map that matters more than any of the other 9 players.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no rush for 100 Thieves. And there's definitely been a few fights where they saw the right opportunity to engage. By no means should they not engage fights, but they should know they don't need to. So like right now, good time to run away. TSM's burning ults, and that just whoa, stunt. Good thing that didn't land. The rest of 100 Thieves know that like they're in an okay position now. When Ornn hits 14 and 15, they can start upgrading yet more items. Sure, if they see the right initiation, they'll go for it.
That is a shockwave on to 3. Bjergsen thrown up here into the air. Meteos looking to find some damage. 2 members of TSM going to be stuck in the Cataclysm. Kobbe has to flash away. Ornn coming in. Sound the horn. Shut down onto Kobbe. Another one in the pocket of Ryoma, and 100 Thieves win the fight.
How rich is he now? I mean, not only 6 kills, but as you mentioned, that was bounty gold down from Kobbe, and that's the window that they saw. Like, if TSM is gonna use that many ultimates to fail a pick in the river and then have the gall to stand up to that mid lane turret, yeah, you fight back. And that's exactly what 100 Thieves did. I think TSM's lucky to not suffer more deaths after that one.
Yeah, 100 Thieves really biting back here in this second game. In contrast, honestly, to the games that we saw them play against Cloud9 in their first series of playoffs, the first game was about the same as the first game in this series. You know, their opponent took them down pretty swiftly. There wasn't a whole lot to it. But then in the second game of that series, Cloud9 beat them even faster. They beat them at 22 minutes or something. And so that's one of my concerns that I had heading into the second game of this series was, is it just going to be Cloud9 2, Electric Boogaloo, and we see TSM just steamroll them in the second game? And the answer is no. This is looking a lot more like 100 Thieves in the third game against Cloud9, where they just play better, they play as a team, they manage to do what their comp was drafted for, and they have this game so damn close right now, still having that lead, and lead thy name is Ryoma.
And that's what makes this just extra fascinating. It's so incredibly rare that you go back with exactly the same team comp. He was on Ward.
Biofrost gets away, though. He will not be picked off here today. I do want to point out that Biofrost here for the second game in a row did go Knight's Vow over Gargoyle Stoneplate as well.
Yep, so he's more vulnerable to burst compared to the standard Gargoyle Stoneplate that you see from most supports. And I'm just trying to think, Captain Flowers, like, what happens if 100 Thieves actually wins this game with 100% the same draft that they lost?
Game 3, we have a tiebreaker between these comps.
Well, yeah, you're only once you do the exact same comp twice. By the way, secret rule: you can only play the same champs for the rest of the series. That's definitely not true. But just like the analyst desk was talking about this and probably said, "Hey, I don't think 100 Thieves even prepped that much for C9. They probably prepped a whole bunch for TSM. So they picked blue side. That probably means they have something else." The last thing you think is they pick blue side to just do exactly the same thing because that's what this week and a half of TSM prep has led to. But here we are, and it's working. So Ocean Drake in 20 seconds. That's a 6-kill Orianna. Dardoch doesn't have flash. I think everyone on TSM should be looking to kill Ryoma. He is the carry right now. Cody doesn't have IE. Kobbe does have Rageblade, Blade of the Ruined King. Bjergsen just completed RFC, so he's going to be looking to put out a large amount of poke. The initiation here, if it can go down onto Ryoma, would be huge.
Nice sidestep there from Biofrost, getting away from Stunt's dredge line. Still no level 14 for Ssumday, which means still no upgraded Rabadons for Ryoma. Blue buff is up and available if TSM wants to go for it. You can see the pings coming out from 100 Thieves here. Biofrost is the man out front for TSM. As Stunt walks forward, dredge line connects. It's going to be focused onto Biofrost, who immediately flashes away. Chains of Corruption come down. Piercing arrow fired out. Bjergsen throwing in a couple of skill shots there from the periphery. As 100 Thieves back themselves away. Broken Blade was coming in on the flank. He positioned himself there naturally. That was not a teleport. Biofrost now, again, going to be jumped on. Horn goes off. They fire it through, but they once more only find the support of TSM. Dardoch moves forward. Meteos going to be caught out, taking a lot of damage there. Health bars of 100 Thieves are down to half. TSM has won the fight in terms of the damage meters, and their reward will be this Drake.
Wow, what a weird series that we just saw there. At the very start, Captain Flowers, it looked like Bjergsen was trying to recall to either finish an item or buy an elixir and then teleport back. So when Stunt hooked in, TSM wasn't really ready to fight. But then they kind of half won that poke battle, and I feel like Stunt made a big mistake. He re-engaged before his aftershock was ready. So he re-hooked in, was a squishy Nautilus, had to immediately turn away, and that just allowed TSM to dump a bunch of damage down without a strong initiation being able to come out for 100 Thieves. So overall, TSM ends up winning that one, but it was only by kind of absorbing back-to-back Stunt initiation attempts.
TSM not willing to let their opponents just take everything today. Drake's still even between the two squads. Gold might as well be even. 700 separating them doesn't mean a whole lot. Remember, those Ornn items are going to start coming online here and now. You can see Ssumday now hitting level 14, which means he will be able to upgrade either the Molten Edge or the Death Crown for one of his two carries.
Yeah. Let's hope, for the purpose of Ryoma's Twitter, that he's moved his death cap into slot 1, because if Ludens is in slot 1, it will upgrade the Ludens instead.
Okay, he moved it.
And he got
moved
the death
it.
cap.
Okay.
All right, they did
yeah,
it right.
That's a fun fact for anybody who plays solo queue and builds multiple items that Ornn might be able to upgrade, and you wonder, why is this Ornn on my team upgrading the wrong item? OMG noob, why you do this? It's actually your fault. You are the OMG noob. You have to put the item you want upgraded in the,
That's all
in the first inventory slot, because it upgrades automatically. So fun little fact there for you. Next time you're playing with Ornn on your team, make sure you have that item in your first inventory slot, and that's the one that he'll apply the extra bonus to. So not only does he upgrade that item for Ryoma, he also completes his own Abyssal Mask, gets that upgrade, and that's a ton of extra stats and firepower there beside 100 Thieves.
Okay.
Biofrost, once again, the target man. 100 Thieves have gone fishing, and they got a big one. Ryoma, godlike on the Orianna.
I mean, that's a flashless Tahm Kench just kind of meandering around the mid lane. If the team's not willing to back him up, he can't be there. So Stunt didn't even land that hook. They just knew they needed to send bodies at him, and they get that kill to set up this push in mid lane now. 5
men strong, pushing down the tier 2. They managed to grab that one. A little bit of chip damage through the barrel rolled out by Dardoch, as 100 Thieves still staying in the top side of the TSM jungle. Stunt with a flash, he's able to find his way on a broken blade. That's going to be a big pick there for 100 Thieves. Nice moves from Stunt.
All right, that's now big team fight power dead, and either 100 Thieves just keeps going into fog, looking for more picks like this, hoping they can still land a Shockwave or a Cataclysm, or they just start the Baron. Little by little, they're kind of chipping away at TSM, who is completely on the back foot now.
TSM, man, they're just, it seems like 100 Thieves has completely swapped how the game looked in game number 1. I applauded TSM for being the team that was constantly looking for things, being the team that seemed like they wanted to be in the driver's seat in the first game, and now 100 Thieves just feels more proactive here in this second one. It's like that first game was just practice for the comp, and they're saying, no, we know what we're supposed to do now. We'll show you what we actually came here to do.
Yeah, I mean, you have enough confidence that your team composition can win. You're putting... The amount of flame you get if you do the exact same comp and lose twice in a row, a lot of times that's just not worth it. But the confidence that it requires to run it back like this and then show success has to kind of be commended for Zix and 100 Thieves if they can end up closing this one out. I'm a little surprised they recalled after that pick onto Broken Blade, because they've kind of allowed everything to reset, and now they have a flashless Nautilus. So TSM is going to cautiously try and get some of this vision back. Another hook, though.
We're talking about caution, and Dardoch is getting hooked. He goes into the stasis and flashes away, but now Meteos is providing the Cataclysm there so the rest of the damage can come through. A good devour from Biofrost. Make sure Dardoch doesn't die in the bullet time, but 100 Thieves just keep looking for these picks.
And a bit of a worry I have is that Ryoma hasn't used Shockwave in a while. I feel like he's being too precious with it. Knowing how fed he is, knowing how much of the team's gold he has, it's like he needs to land this perfect Shockwave, but really he can just use it for damage, because anyone he hits will die. Gotta use it if they want to win this game.
So sometimes you don't even need it when you can use 2 basic abilities and half chunk the enemy mid laner. Bjergsen loses 50% HP there. Ocean Drake is alive here. For either side, this would be Drake number 3. Assist pings coming out from the side of 100 Thieves towards the top side of that river there, saying this is where TSM wants to fight. Broken Blade could go in over the wall if TSM decides to fight for it. Drake down to 2,000 HP. Dardoch looking to potentially contest. He's going to be locked down. Biofrost with the Devour, keeping him safe. Stunt now going to be jumped on by Broken Blade as Biofrost uses the thick skin to stay alive. Drake is secured by Meteos and the rest of 100 Thieves. Broken Blade's in the stasis, and now he's taken down. 100 Thieves on the chase, looking to find even more. Ssumday going forward. He's got the Unstoppable. He's looking to continue this chase. Meteos now with the ball, ready to go in even further forward. Here he goes over the wall. There's your flash. There's your combo. There's your combo. There's 100 Thieves. Ryoma with a double kill, and that is 3 dead for TSM. 100 Thieves are pulling it off, Jatt, and they're on to Baron.
He finally used the Shockwave, and it was at the exact right moment after the Meteos delivery to pick up his 10th kill of the game. 100 Thieves only has 12 kills. They're all on Ryoma, and that fight was actually more one-sided than the scoreboard even shows, because for most of it, Meteos was just smacking the Drake by himself, and 100 Thieves was playing a 4v5, so 100 Thieves is really far ahead. The double stone plate they have on jungler support, the triple tank setup they have, with the current gold income they have, because remember, in game 1, they were about 7,000 gold behind at 30 minutes. Now they are 4,000 gold ahead, so about an 11,000 gold swing when compared to the first 30 minutes of gameplay. With Baron up, with now a Void Staff on Ryoma and a level 16 Shockwave.
Oh, man.
They might look to end if they find the right initiation. TSM doesn't want to stand up 5v5, so we got Bjergsen split pushing one lane. We got Broken Blade trying to split push another. Meanwhile, front door's open.
That's not a clockwork orb anymore. That sucker's a bowling ball, man, and they're just going to roll it towards each and every one of these fancy little pins TSM likes to call turrets, because 100 Thieves will not be stopped. Inhibitor number 1 already taken there in the mid lane. Yes, Bjergsen got a tier 2 in the top side. That is the best TSM thought they could get in that situation. But the 100 Thieves War Machine will not stop pressing forward just because they took one inhibitor. They're going to just
They're going for a fight right now.
Broken Blade is at half HP.
TSM just Tahm Kench out.
Okay, that's not the kind of shockwaves we were talking about, looking for. However, the fight is going to be breaking out. Ryoma going legendary, able to find the kill onto Dardoch. Cody, Sun, and Stunt there in the back line, going to be taken very low. Bullet time coming out. Biofrost going to be burnt down. Double kill over to Ryoma as Bjergsen continues to retreat. The anchor will not find its way onto him, and the shutdown comes out. It's mid laner traded away from mid laner as Ssumday has to continue trying to run now. Broken Blade and Kobbe looking to grab the kill onto him. A couple more arrows are going to do it. Piercing arrow finds the shot, but back into the fight comes Cody, Sun, the TP, and he is there. The Baron empowered minion wave is at the Nexus turret.
It might be over.
Broken Blade is the only man alive. He's got 10% HP. He's backing to the fountain right now. He still has to fight a 1v2 even if he does it. There's the flag placed down. There's the spear to make sure they're providing the interference onto Broken Blade. One more slap will do it, and 100 Thieves, the salty run back, runs it straight into the TSM Nexus, and that ties this series up.
So that's how we're doing it, apparently. We're just going right back into the next game, and we're making it count. That is basically unheard of in professional League of Legends, to lose a game so soundly, pick exactly the same thing in game 2, and then turn the table. So we know about how boom you be if you lose 2 games in a row in the same draft. Let's transfer the boom at this point. Think about TSM now. They're saying, what? Like, did that just happen? Like, what do they need to change at this point? Because the core of what 100 Thieves was trying to do, slow the game down, control it in space, find these corridors where Shockwave and Ornn ult can be the most successful along with MF ult, and they did it now in game 2. So suddenly, they've pushed the onus onto TSM to adapt. TSM will have side selection in game 3 because losers get side select. If they take a red side, I don't know what'll happen. I think TSM will take blue. I think we're getting something different in game 3, but now we have an exciting series.
You said it best. 100 Thieves, they brought the boom to TSM. And now on the other side of that second game, Dash and the analysts are going to return to break down the expert draft.